His skin is white just like a ghost, thick Irish roots and his blonde hair. And he sounds like a Chicago superfan, a music nerd with a collection of CDs from here to there. Yes, Andy Dare is in Chicago, interviewing and barbecuing. It's the Andy Dare Show. It's the Andy Dare Show.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for checking out the Andy Dare Show. This is episode 97. I'm joined by special guest Chan Poling of the Suburbs and of the New Standards. And he's a St. Paul guy, Minnesota. And yeah, it's really cool. He had the Suburbs from the late 70s up until like the late 80s, and got kind of sick of the whole record machine type deal. The whole industry got on his nerves. And yeah, really focused his work on composing and working on musicals and scores and stuff like that. Started a new group in the 2000s called the New Standards, where they kind of break down, popular music and do a whole set of covers in really weird instrumentation. He is a keyboardist. He is very knowledgeable about the whole world of music. It's a nice talk. He could only talk for a little bit. He had to go to a meeting about a new musical that he's planning. He's in the planning stages of right now. So it was brief, but it was a nice chat, and I'm a huge fan of the Minnesota sound of the 70s and 80s. For me, for my money, there's not a whole lot of towns that had such an immense amount of killer music coming out of it. I mean, you had Prince, you had Husker Du, The Replacements, Soul Asylum, you had the Suburbs, you had all this good stuff coming out kind of at once. And a lot of it was courtesy of the record label TwinTone. And yeah, in 2011, I got to speak with Peter Jesperson, and he was, he created TwinTone Records, then he became the Replacements touring manager, and even produced some of the Replacements albums. Chan actually played on a Replacements album, their 1984 classic, Let It Be. So yeah, he's steeped with knowledge about the whole 70s and 80s Minnesota scene. So it was a delightful chat. And the Suburbs do have a new album coming out November 19th. It's called Si Sauvage, or Si Savoir. And we didn't even get to talk about it too much in the interview because it was so brief. But yeah, it's available at Amazon.com. But if you want to support the Andy Dare Show, click through our banner located at theandydareshow.com. It's on the right-hand side of the page. Takes you right to Amazon, purchase their new album, and yeah, we get to keep the lights on here at the Honeycomb Hideout Studios in gorgeous Westmont, and I do appreciate everybody who's clicked through our Amazon banner. And yeah, it's just a way to tip your cap to our show, and just we'll keep bringing you awesome content. It's a completely free show, and we appreciate everybody that's helped us out just a little bit by clicking through the banner. And yeah, so Chan's got a lot of knowledge. He's played on Replacements albums. He actually just saw Paul Westerberg at a show that they played recently. The Suburbs, it took a long hiatus, but they were back making new music, and it's good to hear. Love is the Law was their big hit in 1984, and yeah, it was played on MTV, a lot of rotation, and yeah, they just got sick of doing the whole music industry thing, and I can see how that would wear on a person, and they quit wanting to play along with it. And so he really did his own thing. He turned to musical composition. He turned to musicals themselves. And he's written and composed a lot of cool things throughout the years. So do check it out, thesuburbsband.com, and also on Twitter. And yeah, what else have I got going on lately? We have started a network here at theandydareshow.com. And just because we've been having a pretty successful last couple years doing the Andy Dare Show, I said, why not open up my arms to a couple of new podcasters and, post weekly shows by them. So first up, we got the J Porks Experience. Check it out. Every Monday, we'll be posting a new episode. The way I would describe it is a concert fanatic going through his daily life. And, all the trials and tribulations that come along with living in New York City, Staten Island in particular. and it's really cool. He goes to shows almost on a weekly basis, and he'll give you his full honest opinion about them, and he never holds anything back. That's what I like about Jay. He's also a social media guy for the Meat Puppets, one of my favorite bands of all time, and who I just saw about a month ago in Chicago. So yeah, Jay Pork's Experience every Monday. Follow him on Twitter at jporks, and send him a message if you like the shows. You can find his stuff also on YouTube at youtube.com/jporks, or I've been posting all the episodes up on mine. That's youtube.com/AndrewMartindare. And also, we have every other Wednesday, it is me and Tyler Kale doing our Smooth Operators with Tyler and Andy show that we've been doing for over a year now. And we just do it, pretty much twice a month. Try to do it twice a month. And, go for an hour and talk about everything that we've been dealing with in our lives. He is from Hollywood, California, originally of Maryland, and he has a couple blogs, numerous blogs going on. One is called Dopspot.com. He is a doppelganger pro, which means almost every day he posts on that and on Instagram doppelganger, which is two people from disparate worlds and that somehow look alike in their facial features. He finds the photos that it really, capture that likeness. And he posts them on dopspot.com and at instagram.com/Tyler Kale. He's also very funny, very witty. And yeah, we got along. I found out about him through the whole Adam Carolla world and his work on the Days of Thunder podcast about 2 or 3 years ago now. So it's been a while. I just want to thank Tyler, want to thank Jay for doing these shows. And it's our promise to you, the listener, that we will keep bringing you this awesome content. All you got to do is support our sponsors and click through the Amazon banner at theandydareshow.com. And it really means a lot to us. And yeah, we got a bunch of cool things, a lot of stuff I can't even bring up right now. I don't want to jinx them because, I say that we're going to be doing this one thing. It doesn't come true. Then I really got mud on my face, and I don't want to do that. I guess it's egg on the face is what happens when you look stupid. It's not mud on the face, even though I think mud would look stupid too, being on your face. But yeah, it's just a weird turn of phrase. However, thank you for supporting, thank you for listening, and we will promise to keep bringing it to you. We are also working on another studio album with bits, call-ins, and extra bonuses from the show. And that will be available on the Bandcamp site. Thanks for everybody who has supported and bought our first album called Transmissions from the Honeycomb Hideout. So that's it for this week. I want to thank Chan for calling in. I want to thank you, the listener, for supporting the sponsors. And I want to thank Tyler and Jay for helping us start this little network. One more thing. Please follow the network on Twitter. It's at Darer Network, and I think that's what we're going to be calling this thing pretty soon, the Darer Network. And yeah, so please follow that. We've only got 5 followers now, so anybody counts. I appreciate it. Love from Westmont, Illinois. This is episode 97, Channel. Love is love.
Hello?
Hey, Chan, how's it going? You're in the air with the Andy Dare Show. How's this morning going for you?
Oh, excellent. How you doing?
Doing great. Yeah, thanks for taking the time out for a little interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to do it, man. So tell me about your show, Andy.
It's pretty much just a talk show about the world of music. I've been a music freak since I was a little kid, and I grew up in a record store. Not many kids are going to be doing that anymore, I have a feeling. But yeah, just like talking to people that have some knowledge about the industry, love talking about obscure bands, I love talking about popular bands, all sorts of stuff. So
awesome. Cool. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and I talked to Peter Jesperson. Is it Jesperson or Jesperson? I've had both pronunciations.
Jesperson.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I was right. I had a guest come in and he goes, "No, it's Jesperson." I said, "Well, I hope I wasn't saying it wrong to him the whole interview."
No, it's Peter Jesperson, yeah.
Yeah, but I talked to him and got some knowledge about the whole Twin Cities scene, 70s, 80s, 90s, and he's a totally nice guy. And I heard you're doing a song for Slim, huh?
Yeah, it turned out really awesome. It's one of his songs. It's called Chrome Lipstick.
Nice.
Yeah, to me, I hadn't heard it yet, and I just fell in love with it, and we just nailed it. We kind of did it acoustic. I did a piano at my house, and we brought in the drums and bass and did a kind of a jazz thing. It's awesome.
So do you have like a long-lasting friendship with Slim Dunlap, or is it more of he was just part of the Replacements, part of the whole scene at the time?
No, I love Slim. I've known Slim since we were kids, and the youngsters in the rock scene definitely, and play with him a lot. And he's been on stage with the Suburbs, and I've been, I played on his record. I played piano on the Old New Me, his record.
Oh, nice.
From and so we've been pals for a long time. It's just tragic to see him in this medical condition. Really heartbreaking.
Yeah, definitely. I could see how that would be. Yeah. So you grew up in Evanston, right? Or you were born there?
Yeah, I was born in Evanston in the hospital there, and my folks lived in Glencoe.
Okay.
And and so my earliest memories, like Christmas and stuff, were going to, down to State Store. What was the department store down there? I'm drawing a blank now.
Well, Macy's or Marshall Fields, right?
Marshall Fields. And the big Christmas tree they had there in the atrium. He sat in this little coffee shop and looked through these glass windows down at this big tree. And that's my first memories.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice having, like having a winter, having Christmas, having the holidays and stuff. But you guys have that in spades up in the Twin Cities with all the snow and stuff.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I love Chicago, definitely.
Awesome. So you went out to like Minneapolis when you were a kid, right? The whole family moved out there?
Yep.
So, and what was like the first musical moments? Like, was it the piano? Was it just sitting in front of the piano as a kid, or was that more of a teenager thing in high school? Or?
Well, when I was about 8 years old, my dad started playing. He started playing just little bits of classical music. I noticed him, and I just kind of, my dad is he's not a musician. This was just a little hobby of his, and it just I love it. I just fell in love with it. So I started playing when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I got to credit my dad. He's an inspiration to me. He's got a soul to him that's lovely.
That's awesome.
And so then they got me a piano. I begged them. I said, I want to play. And I was one of those kids that just wanted to play, just played all the time, and that's still that way. I just came home from a gig in Red Wing, Minnesota. I played a 2-hour set, and then I came home and just by myself. I started playing again.
Nice.
At home in my living room.
So, like, as a kid, was it a thing of, like, learning the music theory, or was it more of just put a record on and let me play along to it? Or both?
Well, I was a pretty serious kid. I ended up studying theory and jazz, and I went to California Institute of the Arts in Los Angeles under, my major was music composition, and I was out there with some really great guys out there with, Tim Burton and
nice.
And Paul Rubens and Danny Elfman and all those. I was kind of hung around with some film guys and got into making music for dances and theater, and we went into Philip Glass out there and Meredith Monk, and of course when we went out at night we'd go see the Screamers and the Weirdos and all these LA punk bands back in the late 70s, and the Ramones was just coming out, Sex Pistols was all new. It's just,
Damn.
So when I was a kid, when I was a teenager forming my, how you just love, when you're a teenager, you really form your roots as for what you really are passionate about. And that was the birth of punk rock and new wave music. So it really informed it just blew my mind.
Speaking of the Suburbs, it's kind of like a melding of those two worlds, like the punk and the new wave, and like also film music and that whole, you know, like you bring up Danny Elfman and stuff, that whole Oingo Boingo with the horns and the upbeat tempos and stuff. Was that a conscious thing to meld like all the different genres, or was it just kind of what came out naturally?
Well, you saw it. I always like kind of. This is me personally. You know, the Suburbs are an interesting mix. We got Beach, my partner, you know, in crime, Beach Cheney, who totally into Stones and Hendrix and rock, and I came from, you know, like I said, studying classical stuff and jazz, and so I bring that to the
Nice.
to the thing. And so I personally, speaking for myself, love you know, mixing stuff up. Matter of fact, my favorite record was Credit in Heaven, when we got the piano up front, and we got the horns and the bongos, and we got strings, and that interests me a lot. You know, it kind of set me apart, the Suburbs apart from the Replacements and some of the more kind of rootsy rock guys. But you know, whatever, what the fuck, that's what I like.
Yeah, it definitely set you aside from what was going on in Minneapolis in the early 80s, you know, with Husker Du and, you know, that just kind of back to basics, stripped down punk sound. You guys came in there with a full band and a full, you know, a whole bunch of different arrangements and stuff like that. Like, how about signing to TwinTone? You guys were pretty early signing. Wasn't that like 1978 or?
When we were the first, there was we were the first band to sign with TwinTone.
Really? I did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and and at the same time there was about 3 or 4 others. They kind of came out with a little gang right after that, but we were the first guys. But to be honest, Paul Stark and I had worked together before on projects when I was in high school, and I'd been in the studio working for, you know, before, and I knew Paul from school and stuff like that.
Huh. So you guys had a relationship already. Was Peter Jesperson? He was the head of TwinTone at the time, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that started off as a record store. Am I correct? Or Folk Jokopus?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Were you a big fan of collecting music too, or it just seems like you guys have so many influences? Did you have was your the record collection that you had, was it just as diverse? Or?
Yeah, well, I had an interesting kind of upbringing. My buddy his brother was a music critic for a local paper, so every week they would get boxes and boxes of promo discs from Warner Brothers and every label in the world, you know.
Nice.
And so we'd be listening to Captain Beefheart and to the new whatever, you know, the new Van Morrison or whatever. We would have all the new stuff delivered right to our door.
That's great. That was even going on through the 90s with me. Like at my record store, we get a box of promos, you know, the new Beck album a month before it came out with no artwork. You know, it says do not distribute, you know, and you feel like you're kind of breaking the law or something. It was a great feeling.
Yeah, cool.
So, yeah, the Suburbs signed in 78, and but really the big breakthrough was Love is the Law, right? And what was that, 84?
It had to have been 77, I think. I think, wasn't the Little Red record out in 1977?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Pretty sure. The 7-song EP.
77? Nice.
Pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I should know my own history better.
But yeah, you got in combo. Then you, as you mentioned, Credit in Heaven, 81, up to Love is the Law in 84, and
yeah.
Was that like the album that you guys finally got some steam like across the entire country and overseas, or did it still take time to break through her?
Well, Love is the Law was the first major label on Polygram.
Okay. Nice.
Sorry, I'm eating my breakfast right now. Yeah, Love is the Law was on Polygram and Mercury Polygram, And so that was the first real team we had behind us here, international team we had behind us.
Nice.
This episode of The Andy Dare Show is brought to you in part by Uncle Bub's award-winning barbecue in Westmont, Illinois. Family owned and operated since 1997, Uncle Bub's is the real deal barbecue. A family-friendly restaurant open 7 days a week. Also, it's a full-service catering company doing weddings, pig roasts, luau's, grill packages, you name it. They have a friendly, helpful staff that will make sure that your party goes off without a hitch. Call them at 630-493-9000. Visit them at 132 South Cass Avenue in Westmont, Illinois, and UncleBubs.com. Hey man, I know you like grilling. I know you like getting those dark grill marks on your burgers, fish, chicken. And I know you don't want to just dry your meat out like you're cooking with a hairdryer. Why not get the Man Grate and click through the AndyDareShow.com's banner so we can keep the lights on here at Honeycomb Hideout Studios in gorgeous Westmont, Illinois. The Man Grate. This episode of The Andy Dare Show is brought to you in part by Record Utopia, a music lover's dream with thousands of vinyl records, musical instruments, and sound gear. They buy, sell, and trade. Give them a call at 630-963-1957. Visit them in Westmont, Illinois at 309 West Ogden Avenue, on the web at recordutopia.com. It's always a good, relaxed atmosphere. Check them out, Record Utopia.
Did you guys do videos on MTV? I mean, MTV was the biggest thing ever in 1984, probably hit their apex, way before Jersey Shore and all that.
We were on, if you look on the old MTV countdown, you find Love Is the Law on there.
Nice.
We were in the studios in New York City being interviewed by the VJ. What was her name? The blonde with the funky haircut.
Nina something, or right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we were one of the originals on MTV, and unfortunately, this is what happens to regional bands, you know, there's people that stay. I mean, we just played, let me put it this way, this is 2013, and we just played to 9,000 people.
Jeez.
in St. Paul, our hometown, and then we go down to just as far away as, you know, Milwaukee or whatever, and play to a couple hundred.
Well,
that's the fate of a regional band. We just couldn't break out. The radio wouldn't pick up. You know, the single "Love Is the Law" is, you know, huge around here, and "Life Is Like" on the next record, which came out on A&M Records, was number one at the top 40 station here for 3 months. Pardon me. And but then you go to Cleveland, and there'd be, you know, no one even heard of us. So.
Well, it was hard to put you guys in a box. You know, it's hard to put you guys in a neat, nice box. You guys were trying all different stuff at the time, and when, I mean, you had influences with the whole Prince sound up there. You, like we said, you had the punk influence. You had a bunch of stuff going on. How about, like, you guys worked with somebody in Prince's band for the follow-up to Love Is the Law, right?
Yeah, Robert Brent, which is Bobby Z.
Bobby Z, there you go.
Yeah, the drummer from Revolution, yeah. He produced our next record, and that actually, like I said, it made a, you know, regional hit, and it kept us going for a while, and but basically just the lack of radio play in the world at large just frustrated us, and we quit playing. We quit trying to do the machine, you know,
yeah.
And then the machine ended up breaking anyway. And now it's a DIY world again, pretty much. I mean, even, you know, when Radiohead puts out their new record online for free, you know, it's a different world.
It's a little bit like a full circle kind of thing from when you first began? Or?
Yeah, well, I feel it anyway, just emotionally. I feel it artistically. And as far as the business world goes, I don't feel like I'm not going to compete with Katy Perry and you know, Jay-Z and stuff like that. That's a different world, and the record companies that do exist and serve that kind of those kind of artists, but I'm not really interested in that, and I don't care. So at least emotionally, I got over the hump of like striving. You know, there's a certain thing you do when you're striving and you're not achieving, and it hurts. You know.
It's dangerous for sure. And it's not healthy. But like, how about like in the '80s, as we're talking about Love Is the Law? Was there a definite competitive side, even like in the Minnesota scene? Like, we got to make the next, like, we got to just one up the Replacements, one up Husker Du, and you had Prince making the biggest hits in the world at the time. Was there some competition, right?
Hell yeah. But luckily, I mean, we ended up to be all friends. You know, Westerberg just came back, say hi at the, you know, our last show at First Avenue.
Awesome.
And hung out with us, and you know, I ended up doing some. I remember teaching with a college music seminar with Bob Mould a few years ago.
Huh.
You know, we hang out, we know each other, but yeah, definitely, it drove me crazy to see those guys kind of go back. Pardon me. I'm doing the interview in a vestibule of a doorway at a restaurant. You know.
I appreciate you taking the time out. This is awesome. But like, and you played piano on "Let It Be" by the Replacements, right? What song was that?
16 Blue.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I played on Bob's record, and I played on. I'm trying to think. Those are my favorites, but. And I produced some stuff. I just produced a new record for Lucy Michelle, who's a new artist here in Minneapolis.
Nice.
And just keep my fingers in it, definitely.
So, like, after you stopped wanting to, you know, work with the machine of the Suburbs, the whole, you know, pop thing, started the New Standards, right? Or, you know, you had a couple solo albums. You did a couple the musicals, right, in the 90s?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm heading to a meeting right now. We're putting up a new musical comedy thing here in St. Paul. I gotta get to this meeting, but yeah, I love all that stuff.
Awesome. Look, yeah, I totally appreciate you taking the time out. You know, big fan of the Suburbs. I will have to do more research and check it out more. They can find you at chanpoling.com, right?
Well, you know, I haven't even looked at that in a year. Yeah, so you can the suburbsband.com.
Suburbsband.com. TheSuburbsBand.com. Okay.
TheSuburbsBand.com. There's a lot of cool stuff there, including bios, and you can buy the record. You can stream it live. You know, you can stream it, listen to the whole damn thing on SoundCloud. The new one.
Cool.
And the newstandards.com too. Got some info.
Yeah, I was gonna check. I checked that out. I love all the different covers. You had Song 2 on there. That was a really interesting arrangement on that one too, by Blur. Yeah.
Yeah. We just sold out the State Theater here in town. Our next show, 2,000 seats.
Really, that's awesome. Well,
yeah, that band is rocking.
I'm glad to see you in top form. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Any last words, Chan?
Just keep on rocking, Andy, and thanks so much.
All right, appreciate it. You have a great day, man.
You too.
Later.
Be sure to follow Andy on Twitter. That's at Andy Dare. And like our show on Facebook. That's facebook.com/The Andy Dare Show. Videos at youtube.com/Andrew Martin Dare. And we're on iTunes. Just search The Andy Dare Show. Please leave a review. Thanks so much to our wonderful sponsors, Uncle Bub's award-winning barbecue, Record Utopia, The Band Great, and Amazon.com. Theme song courtesy of Rich Banks Music. Thank you so much for checking out The Andy Dare Show. TheAndyDareShow.com.